Mswatu inkosi ithula akayithathe akahambe nayo akayithathe yedenza kade wone akayithathe
Your time now is 2 p.m. You're watching Market View ERS Text Talk right here on Eswatini TV. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Natalis Tole, glad to be your host. Today on the program, let's talk opportunity at a global stage. The Entrepreneurship World Cup 2026 is now officially open for applications, and for aspiring and existing entrepreneurs, this is a gateway to international markets, funding and mentorship. The platform attracts thousands of entrepreneurs from over 190 countries, all competing, collaborating and connecting. And now the time has come for local SMEs to see global representation. While the world is opening doors, are local entrepreneurs ready to walk through them? For more on this, we'll speak to the Small Enterprises Development Company. But first, our business news. In our business news, the Eswatini Revenue Service continues its drive to strengthen tax education across the country. Today, the Federation of Eswatini Business Community, FESBIC, engaged with the service in an informative session focused on building understanding of tax and compliance.
Amalunga ethu sidiscover ukuthi anetinkinga letiphathelene nemithelo awacomply lamaningi awo.
She reveals that many of their members are facing serious challenges when it comes to tax compliance. She adds that some businesses are operating without tax identification numbers, while others are charging value-added tax without being properly registered, highlighting an urgent need for engagement with the Eswatini Revenue Service.
But ngikuthi nje ongusomabhizinisi yena wati ukuthi kufanele a-charge 15% kuko konke la kuthengisako, so kuningi lebekuhamba kabi.
Members of the Eswatini Federation of Business Community says today's meeting was an eye-opener.
Ngingusomabhizinisi kuningi lengikufundzile.
Several admitted they had made costly mistakes that led to non-compliance, largely due to a lack of knowledge. They are now calling on authorities to take tax education to the grassroots, ensuring that even small and emerging businesses fully understand their obligations.
Compliant utawukhona nanokuthi ube relevant nakhona la kufuneka ukuthi usebenze khona tawukhanzakala ukuthi awuvimbeleki.
In February 2024, the Eswatini Revenue Service introduced Sonzela Sikhulume program, an open platform designed to encourage businesses to come forward at any time to seek clarity and assistance on tax-related matters. The campaign was launched as a client-focused initiative aimed at encouraging both individuals and businesses to actively engage with the service in order to find tailored solutions for managing their tax affairs. It also functions as a support system for taxpayers with outstanding tax obligations. Reporting, Nelson Dlangamandla, Fabrice Musonera, Ezulwini.
The non-bank financial institutions NBFI sector in Eswatini shows strong scale and stability, with total assets reaching 128 billion emalangeni by the end of Q4 2025. This is at least according to the FSRA quarterly statistical bulletin. This follows Q3 assets of 124 billion emalangeni, reflecting a 4 billion emalangeni quarterly growth and continued sector resilience. Retirement funds dominate the NBFI sector, with 98 licensed funds holding 60 billion emalangeni in assets, up from 58 billion emalangeni in Q3, making up nearly half of total NBFI assets. These funds play a crucial role in mobilizing long-term savings and supporting national investments. Capital markets also show strength, investment advisors manage 35 billion emalangeni, while collective investment schemes add 11 billion emalangeni. Other subsectors include building societies with 3.5 billion emalangeni, SACCOs 3.3 billion emalangeni, development finance institutions at least 2.3 billion emalangeni. The credit and savings sector has 157 licensed providers, with retail outlets holding 538 million emalangeni. While smaller than retirement funds, they are essential for day-to-day liquidity and consumer credit in Eswatini. SACCOs, savings and credit cooperatives, saw assets rise from 3.3 billion emalangeni to 4.8 billion emalangeni, alongside 157 licensed credit and savings providers, the largest number of entities in the industry. Development finance solutions grew from 2.3 billion emalangeni to 3.3 billion emalangeni, while insurance assets held steady at around 7.8 billion emalangeni. And now you're up to date with some of the latest in business. After the break, we speak to Setke. Stay with us.
Those that are in pain must forget all the problems they have. Because the things of the earth have got no answer. But the answer that we have is all morning. When I'm preaching here, I'm preaching to myself. I receive the Holy Spirit.
I declare that a turnaround is coming my way.
Turnaround is coming in my life.
Welcome back. Moving on with the program, the Small Enterprise Development Company, SEDCO, is calling on entrepreneurs to seize a global opportunity. Applications are now open for the Entrepreneurship World Cup 2026, a global platform connecting startups to funding, mentors, and international markets. This is more than a competition. It's your chance to scale your business and compete on the world stage. We're now joined by Ketsiwe Mema, Communications Officer at SEDCO, to share more about this opportunity and how local MSMEs can apply. Ketsiwe, good afternoon. Thank you so much for your time. Good to have you in studio. Let's start maybe just by getting an understanding of what the Entrepreneurship World Cup really is.
Thank you, Natsile. Yes, the Entrepreneurship World Cup 2026 is a competition that is open to all entrepreneurs in the world, including us, Eswatini. Yeah. And this Entrepreneurship World Cup is basically open to all entrepreneurs at any stage of business. Whether you're in the ideation stage or whether you are having a product already in the market, or you are already running a fully fledged business, you can be able to apply and register for the competition. Yes.
Have we maybe seen our local SMEs or local businesses participating at a competition of this scale in previous years?
Yes, we have seen that, and recently we just have the African Iconic Recognition Awards, which was hosted outside the country, and we have seen our beneficiaries in the Entrepreneur of the Year Awards that you usually host as SEDCO. They were entering that competition, and they did get a recognition on that global stage. So we really encourage our SMEs to actually apply and enter into the global stage so that they can get not just a local recognition, but global recognition. Yes.
Such opportunities really boast of global recognition, as you say. Here we are now, we have local SMEs that rather need the exposure, but besides that, what really is in it for them should they apply? It's just recognition, but what about money? We often talk of access to finance. What about that? Access to information. What more is there?
there's great prizes to be won, as we have got 1.5 million in the competition US dollars. Yes, to be shared amongst the 100 businesses, the finalists that will be selected globally to compete in Saudi Arabia. So they will get cash prizes to boost their businesses. And more than that, it's just not about the cash prizes only, but it's about getting access to global markets as well. Yeah.
Access to global markets, you know, I think it's, when I look at it, it can be quite competitive. Now, one wonders, what about the products or the idea that I have? So then it brings me to the question of, are there maybe priority sectors or industries that will be, you know, prioritized in terms of the competition, or it's anyone and everyone, whether you are selling sweets or, you know, you are in the construction industry, but for as long as you're SME, you do qualify?
Thank you, Natsile. The amazing part about this competition is that it looks at all businesses across board, because they have stated that even if you are in the ideation stage, now I have got an idea, I want to start a business. Because when you have an idea, you are looking for validation, right? So with this competition, as you enter, as you go through the form, the application form, you can actually see that they are looking for a business pitch as well, so that your idea can be validated. So every entrepreneur in all sectors, whether you're beginning or you're already running a fully fledged business, you're welcome to apply.
Take us through the requirements. What is it that a local SME will need to have or provide in order to qualify for participation in the Entrepreneurship World Cup?
Thank you, Natsile. Yes, on the application form, you would get to provide information, including your registration, your company registration. But if you haven't registered, you are still welcome. That's why we go back to the ideation, because if you have an idea, you haven't registered already. So you are welcome to apply. Now, the most important part about the application process is that you have to provide a very good business page that will basically speak to what your business is doing or what your idea is about. Yes, so that you can get that recognition that you deserve as an entrepreneur.
Speaking of what your one's business could be about, there's often the conversation around innovate, or rather have a sustainable business idea. What should entrepreneurs really be prioritizing in their applications?
Innovation, like you said.
Fair.
As at SETCO, we are looking for innovative businesses. For example, in our Entrepreneur of the Year Awards, we have got a category specifically dedicated to innovative businesses. For example, Datamatics Eswatini, who was the 2024 Entrepreneur of the Year Awards winner. He is very innovative. If you go through his business profile, we see innovation there. So we're looking for businesses, because now we are getting into the digital age, we are in it, and this is the future. So we would like to see businesses like that enroll or apply in this competition, so that they put Eswatini in the map.
And how will SETCO really assist the local businesses in terms of applying? Because already you're bringing in a form, you need to pitch. I'm just thinking the paperwork, it really has to be quite tedious. But how is SETCO really willing to assist in that regard?
As we have shared this opportunity today on our socials, on our Facebook page, so we are asking and we're requesting all SMEs that need help to actually give us a comment under that post, so that they can get the assistance that they need. They can even visit our SETCO head office to get the assistance. So we're ready available to help them, because we want to take them to the international stage.
Often there's the idea or the concept that entrepreneurs lack access to information. And I appreciate SETCO coming here. It's you really just bridging the gap. Given the entrepreneurs that you have on your database, how many of them do you really think, well, no, you don't have to give me a number, but given just the quality of what they have, do you think their work at this point is international market ready? Have they scaled enough? Or maybe there's a bit of work, you know, we need to make some improvements?
With our experience, as we always work with our entrepreneurs, that's our mandate. we have seen businesses in Eswatini that are outstanding, and that's what our programs reward or recognize, like the Entrepreneurship or the Entrepreneur of the Year Awards. That is what it stands for. It stands for recognizing those excellent businesses, and these businesses are very capable, honestly, and if they go out to the international stage, we know they are going to make Eswatini proud. Yeah.
Speaking of the global stage, I want to ask if maybe SETCO has a benchmark here in terms of the number of applications that they are expecting from local participants or, shortlisted businesses, or at least, we're hoping for them to kind of make it to the finals. Is there a figure that you can say, if we could at least just receive this number of applications, Eswatini really will have achieved the most?
Honestly, when I look at my figures in my programs, I see entrepreneurs applying, like over 500 of them applying for the EYA, the Entrepreneur of the Year Awards. So I can see that there's a lot of entrepreneurship going on in the country, and I'm expecting a lot of entrepreneurs to take this opportunity to just apply. Because now, if you look at that, there's entrepreneurs who are at the ideation stage, and we want to see those ones applying so that they can get their ideas validated, so that they can roll in and venture into entrepreneurship with that validation, so that they can be successful in what they are doing.
What's the risk, Ketsiwe, of not maximizing on this global opportunities, or rather not participating? What's at stake here? When we look at how SMEs, they need access to finance, we need foreign investments, but when we are going to have such opportunities and then SMEs don't really act up on them, what's at stake? What's the risk?
The challenge is that what we see with our entrepreneurs is that they need funding. We know that business is not a straight road. Business is not easy, right? You need money to start your business or keep it going. So now, with such opportunities, you have to take them, because these opportunities are providing you with free funding. This one is going to provide you with free training, with free funding, and with the exposure that you need to actually now start even exporting your products to other countries, which is exciting. So I would encourage our entrepreneurs to actually take this very seriously and say, you know what, this is my time to shine. Let me just take this opportunity and give it a try, and something great can come up. Yes.
Where can the local entrepreneurs that are interested in applying, where do they find the application form? Who do they reach out to?
Yes, the application form is strictly online. You apply online. So we already have the link on our Facebook page. It's the Small Enterprises Development Company's Facebook page. So you can go there and click. Or if you have challenges in accessing the form, you can come to our offices here in Baban, and then we can take you through the process.
I want to ask about EYA, but before we get to that, as an agency or a company rather that deals with small business development, what skills or capacities do you think local SMEs lack that often limit their participation or success in global competitions?
Thank you, Notile. Yes, we see the lack of digital skills. Just like this competition, just the one we are talking about, is the application is online. So you have to be internet savvy. You have to know how to access it. So now, we have been doing trainings that include digital skills, just to make sure that entrepreneurs are well tech savvy. They are not afraid of the internet. They are not afraid to use those those gadgets at home, so that they can be able to get access to such opportunities, which makes life easy, honestly, because this form, you access it at the comfort of your own home. Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's too soon to talk about EYA, Entrepreneur of the Year Awards. Should we be expecting a launch anytime soon?
Yes, we're excited and we're working on it. We are hoping it will come through soon. And we are very excited because this year is the 20th anniversary for EYA. So it's been 20 years of this long journey of EYA.
My last one, youth unemployment remains a critical challenge. How do you think we can leverage the local initiatives, whether it's EYA or also the international platforms like the Entrepreneurship World Cup, to turn young people from job seekers, but rather to people who are innovative enough to bring solutions and create jobs?
Thank you, Natsile. We know that's a very, very, very serious issue in the country, and we're experiencing it and we're living in it. And what we are saying as SETCO is that SETCO is providing so many opportunities for the youth as well. And that is our main target, that we help capacitate the youth and make sure that they believe in entrepreneurship. Because the challenge is that when you resort to entrepreneurship because now you don't have a job, that's where the challenge is. But we want to make the youth believe in this entrepreneurship so that they can venture into it and do it very successfully. So SETCO is offering different courses countrywide, and entrepreneurship is there. And we are training entrepreneurs, especially the youth, so that they can believe in this thing and make sure that they venture into it and make it a success for the country as well.
And we want them to take charge of the economy.
Exactly.
That was Ketsiwe Mema, who is the communications officer for SETCO. We're discussing the applications, for the Entrepreneurship World Cup, where local SMEs are more than welcome to apply. And of course, what's in it for them? Global exposure, international markets, and funding. This is Market View ERS Text Talk. The show continues after this.
To all the viewers of Eswatini TV in the kingdom and beyond. Eswatini TV is regulated by the Eswatini Communications Commission through the Broadcasting Code and Broadcasting Guidelines. Under these instruments, the station commits to broadcasting information and news that have been fact-checked, programs and content in respectful language with no elements of hate speech, violence or sexual activity. If you hear any unsuitable content on this channel, you have a right to voice your complaints with the station management. Should you not be satisfied with the response or action taken, you can escalate your matter to the Communications Commission at PO Box 7811 Babani. Call 2406 7000 or send an email to info@esccom.org.za. For more information, visit www.esccom.org.za.
Welcome back for our market analysis segment. As you know, in-house economist Anele Sibia is on standby for us. Mr. Sibia, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. So doubts of a ceasefire in Iran continued to mount. How are markets looking?
Thank you, Notsile. A good afternoon to you, and also a good afternoon to the viewers. We're seeing, that kind of rhetoric coming out of the White House, and that they are very much closer to, say, a peace deal, while we're hearing Tehran saying the US is actually negotiating with themselves. We're seeing those things happening. So when that started happening, the US stock markets rallied, and actually almost all stock markets across the globe did rally. So starting with the US, the United States, we're seeing a bit of some highs within the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the Nasdaq Composite Index, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average gaining some 305 points in yesterday's trade, just returning to that 46,000 mark. Same thing with the Nasdaq Composite Index at closing. It had returned to 21,000, still below its long-term average of around 25,000. And, sitting at gaining 167 points. And then the Standard and Poor's index of top 500 companies in the US actually also just lost some 23.15 points to close below its long-term average of 6,900 or 6,800 or thereabouts, to sit at 6,253 points in overall share volumes last night, largely driven by the fact that when markets closed in the US, which would be earlier in the morning today, markets closed in the US, there was still that rhetoric coming out of the White House in that we are very much closer to the end of the war. But with what is coming out of Tehran, we are getting the fact that the war is far from over, and with Tel Aviv, Jerusalem there, Israel telling us that they're not done. They are not yet done. They still have objectives to meet, which is an indicator that Israel will actually push to continue the war, while Tehran as well is not giving up. It seems it's only the US that wants a way out of this war right now, and those conflicting news are just sending markets haywire. The UK there is back on the 10,000 mark with a bit of buying the dip, with the expectation that the war is sooner or later going to get to be resolved. But again, Europe is below its 2-3 week average of around 10,400 in terms of overall share volumes. The German DAX still sitting at the 22,000 mark, losing 298 points in today's trade, just pushed by the fact that the price of oil remains high. Yeah, the price of oil, skipped the $100 mark today, as we're seeing this news coming out of Tehran. And the CAC 40 is sitting below there at 7,782.856 euros in terms of overall share volume. So what you're seeing there again is the jitteriness of the European markets in terms of whether this war is going to end or not. And we know that Europe is dependent to a large extent on the Gulf region for their fuel. Coming into into Asia, 145.97 points, largely driven by the oil price surge. But what we are also seeing there in Asia is when we saw the first election a couple of months ago, the 2-week average or the 4-week average for the Nikkei was around 57,000 in terms of all share volumes. But right now we are back at 53,000. So these are just early January last 2025 numbers that we saw, but ever since then, the Nikkei has been rallying, but we're seeing markets losing a bit of that momentum right now. The Hang Seng sitting the biggest loser in the Asian economies, and the Shanghai Composite Index, slowly driving down to the high 38,000s, but we know that this was an average that we've last seen in, say, the last 3 months. After that, the Shanghai Composite has been sitting above the 4,000 mark. So you can see the impact of this war and the movements in terms of the oil prices and, the fear that it could, and the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz and the fear that it could escalate across the globe. Also remember that what has happened in the Strait of Hormuz has actually also pushed, shipping prices. So that makes it difficult for, a major exporter like China and Germany to continue pushing their goods across the globe. And also those supply chain disruptions, that maritime blockades that we are seeing there in the Gulf region and also towards the Suez Canal region. In terms of the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, are we seeing a bit of a return to the 111,000 mark, but losing to 2,378 in today's trade. story of the gold price and also the fuel shock. The gold is losing steam while fuel is continuing to rise, and that is actually not good for the South African economy. And then in terms of the Eswatini Stock Exchange, we remain stable at that 493.16, just signaling that our domestic stock exchange doesn't necessarily trade the news. We are trading the fundamentals, and we're not seeing those movements as we are seeing across the globe. And then in terms of the gold is sitting at 441.80 dollars per ounce, while oil is sitting at 134, 100. So now that is largely due to the news that we've been talking about, and gold is losing momentum because markets are expecting, an increase in the interest rate because of this volatility, and interest-bearing assets are going to be relatively lucrative. And in terms of the exchange rate, the Lilangeni is losing ground on a daily basis because of the war, sitting at 17.02 in today's trade against the dollar, sitting at 19.67 against the euro, and sitting at 9.37 against the Japanese yen, because of the declining gold price, and the surge in fuels and the capital outflows that we are seeing. Thank you, Natsila.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Bia, in-house economist, Sanelesi Bia, sharing insights on the day's trade. This has been Market View ERS Text Talk. Until next time, bye-bye.